I have a stepsister, and I did not want to ruin my big day, which is my wedding day. But then my stepsister came to me real early in the morning and told me some absolutely devastating news, and of course it had to do with my fiance, and she chose the wedding day to tell me this news. Well, I did not let it end so happily. I ran up to my soon-to-be husband and demanded to know what the heck she was talking about, and guys, what I discovered makes my blood boil. So, I don't like exposing other people or being messy. Some might say it's wrong to watch things happen and not say anything, but that's how I maintain a peaceful life. If I could expose every single thing about everyone I knew, then I would have no friends or family. I firmly believe that nobody's perfect and we're all responsible for our actions and rectifying them. Seldom have I gotten in the way of exposing someone. It was only in special instances if the person was harming other people. I've just had such an instance and I just ruined my stepsister's marriage at my wedding. Should I have ignored her or, well, when she bothered me? Yes. Do I regret exposing her since she thinks that she's a saint? 100% not. There's no reason for her to do that to me on my wedding day other than stop it. She never wanted me to be happy from the start, and she hid her jealousy behind a so-called kind intention. But I saw right through her, if I'm being honest. Today she bit off way more than she could chew. It all started about an hour before my wedding to Steven, who I had been dating for the past 3 months. My stepsister Tanya suddenly came to my dressing room and told everyone to get out because she had something very important to tell me, and it could not wait. The last thing I wanted was to speak to her, of all people, before my wedding. I told her that she had 5 minutes, and that next time she could not just budge in and ask people to leave. I'm 25 female, and I don't care one bit for my stepsister. She's selfish, vile, and always competing with me. She acts like a sweetheart in front of literally everyone, but I do not buy her act. I told her to start talking and not even beat around the bush. She then puts on a fake concerned face and asked if I really wanted to go through with the wedding. She really did not want me to make the biggest mistake of my life, and I asked her, why does she even care? And if that was all she had to say, she could simply leave. She told me that there was something I did not know about my soon-to-be husband. She said that she would really hate for me to be subjected to such lies before the wedding. And in addition, she knew what it would do, ruin the rest of my life if I married him. Now, my heart was beating very fast, and my many scenarios were just going through my mind. After a while, I asked if he was cheating on me, but she shook her head and said, "Oh no, it's worse." She said that it's been recently brought to her attention that he was addicted to gambling, and she needed me to know before I married him. She then asked me if I had a prenup in stage, because if I did not, I was going to be ruined financially. I asked how she even knew this, and it was a big accusation to make. She tells me that she can't reveal her source, but he was a regular at a certain casino. If I wanted, I could ask the people who worked there, and I stood there, not responding for a while, as anger filled my veins. There's no way I was going to be disrespected like this. In addition, I was not going to be treated like I was stupid. It was time for me to remind people who the hell I was, so I just told her to get out because I had a very important phone call to make. I need to deal with this mess. She tried to hide it, but she quickly smiled. Now that her mission was complete, I could not believe what I had been told. But I knew just how to deal with it, so I made a phone call. And then 10 minutes later, my brother-in-law showed up at my dressing room. As I figured, Tanya was still there, of course. Oh, man. Because she wanted to witness the drama. Well, she was about to witness everything in 4K, baby. I told them to get in and then make sure that nobody else is lurking. I didn't care if anyone heard, but I also did not want to ruin the day with rumors. I looked at my brother-in-law and told him that I'd recently found out something very, very devastating about the man I was about to get married to. He asked what Steven had done and said that he would sort it out. Immediately, I told him that I was more than grateful for him to do that, but that was not the reason I called him. What happened made me realize that it's important for one to know their spouse. I was going to deal with Steven, but I also wanted him to know the truth about his wife. I said that secrets fester and can ruin everything. My wedding day was probably ruined because of his wife, but since she wanted to expose everyone, had she told him about her secret child? Tanya lost all the color in her face. She looked at her husband and attempted to speak, but not a single word came out of that mouth. She was truly speechless, something that was very, very rare. We've kept her secret in the family for many years, and I've never had the urge to reveal it until now. I figured it was only fair if she wanted to prevent me from getting married. I know that my Steven had a gambling problem, but he kicked it 2 years ago. When it got bad, I broke up with him until he got his act together. As for the casino, if he was seen there, then it had to be on a business trip, because I knew that he would never gamble again. He knows that if he even dares, he'll lose me. Besides, I would have already found out on my own if he was gambling. He had tried to get back into it when I broke up with him, but I caught him within a day. There's no way that he did it without my knowledge, and somehow Tanya found out and made her own conclusions, which she was now using to hurt me. She forgot that I knew her deepest, darkest secret that her husband is not supposed to know. See, when she was 17, she fell pregnant, and our parents hid the pregnancy because of how judgmental people in town can be. When the child was born, he had special needs, so she left him with his dad's family. They were out of town and accepted the child. She has not gone to see the child even once and has not supported him. She has completely just erased that part of her history and forgot all about it. When she was getting married to Luca, I asked if she was ever going to tell him, but she said that she did not want to mistake and ruin her life. She also said she nearly got her life ruined by that baby. But I don't know, how is it fair for him to come back and haunt her now? I should have said something to him back then, but I also did not want to seem jealous. I decided to let her keep her secret, thinking that it would finally come out one day. I know she has not told him, but today he knows. I left the two of them arguing in my dressing room and went to walk down the aisle so I could marry the love of my life. Our wedding went without any interruptions, but I noticed the two of them did not return. Later on, my sister sent me a text asking if I was happy because he broke up with her at the wedding. He wanted nothing to do with her and actually wants a divorce. She blamed me for what happened and said that she was going to make sure that I regret this. She told me to be happy with my addict because one day I would lose everything because of him. I know she lost everything tonight, but I gained everything. I am in my husband's arms while she's dumped. Who won that, if you ask me? I also confronted my husband on what happened, but I'll tell you about that in a bit because I have to go for now. Update number 1. It's been 2 weeks. Hey there. There has been a lot happening since the last post, and I promised to tell you everything, but first I need to fill in some gaps and answer questions that you guys had. After the wedding, I get a moment to speak to Steven, right? And I told him that he had been seen at the casino. Steven told me that it was true. He had gone there, but not to gamble. A client of his was a regular, and they went to meet. They tried to get him to play, but he refused because he did not want to go back to this dark place. In the end, he had to tell them about his problem. This was after they had met up with them 2 times. He told them he had no issue meeting there, but he could not gamble. Luckily, they respected his choice, and because they really needed him, they moved the meeting to the restaurant of the casino. He has gone there a few times, and his old friends have seen him there, but not once did he crack. He told me that he did not want to say anything because he wanted me to trust him. I told him if I did not trust him, I would not have married him without confronting him. I've seen all the work that he's done to be a better person, and I'm so proud of him. I would never doubt him for a second because I know how committed that he was. After we wrapped up the topic, I told him what I had done and said that I might have gone too far. My husband does not know about the secret child. When we decided to keep it a secret, I did not even tell him. But now that the cat is out of the bag and the story was going to be everywhere soon, well, he reassured me that I was not in the wrong. She would have told her husband the truth, and she should have. As he was speaking, he spotted my brother-in-law and said that he was going to check on him. I left the 2 men to talk, and I then made my way to speak to my mom. My mother has been married to my stepdad for over 14 years now. My stepdad is just like my father, and he walked me down the aisle. He's actually the person I'm the most worried about now that I exposed the truth. I don't want Tanya to get to them first, so I confessed it to my mom. For a wedding day, it's turning out to be pretty stressful. My mom told me that she did not want to ruin my day by scolding me, so we would speak after my honeymoon. Well, she told me that I indeed did mess up, and I should have consulted her before doing such a thing because Tanya was family. She told me to enjoy the rest of my wedding, but see her as soon as I get back. Well, I landed back in town this morning after a memorable honeymoon. Stephen has assured me that I was well within my rights to retaliate after what Tanya tried to do to me. She could have confronted Stephen before making assumptions and trying to ruin my wedding. Now I'm back and I must answer to the family. We're having a family meeting in just a couple of days, and I'm starting to get nervous, but I'm not going to show how nervous I am because I was right to do what I did. She's the one who wanted to play with my marriage, so I showed her that the two of us could play that game. In addition, this makes up for the times that she has thrown me under the bus before. It has to, right? Update number 2, 3 days later. Hey guys, well, it looks like when I was gone, crap continued to get worse and worse and worse for my sister, and now she's blaming me. She's the one who tried to embarrass my husband using his past even though he's a changed man. She wants to expose his skeletons in the closet, but is scared when hers come out. Forget the regret I was feeling because she deserved it. Turns out that she tried to fight for her marriage while I was gone, but Luca was not having it. He got in contact with her child's grandparents, who turned out to have been struggling to raise him for many years. They sent messages and letters over the years, but she ignored them. She acted like the child she gave birth to was some sort of curse. My brother-in-law confided in me and said that before this she had always talked crap about my husband because of his previous problems. She also claimed that my relationship would never last. She seemed to have been very jealous of me for some reason. Her husband said that being married to her had been hell, because simply nothing made her happy. He moved heaven and earth for her, but it was never enough. He wanted to have kids, but she did not, so he gave that up for her. He did everything she had ever asked, but still, that was never enough, and the whole time she had lied to him about who she was. He said that he would have been okay with adopting her child and raising him as their own even. But the way she spoke about her own child with him made him realize that she did not love that child. She did not even care that he was not getting proper education. I was actually surprised that he cared. Luca is like a corporate guy who's all about making money. I never knew that he was such a charitable family man. So I asked what he was going to do. Well, he told me that divorce was the best option, but he could not stop thinking about that child. He said that he had a conversation with my husband about doing something, and I told him to continue talking to my husband then. I supported him if he wanted to help Tanya's son. Clearly, she did not care what happened to that boy. But that's not all, guys. You guys want to hear how the meeting went? Tanya went crying to her parents about what I've done, and she told them that I did it because I hate her, since her husband made more money than mine and their lives were better. I told Tanya it's not about that. It was about her snakish behavior when she tried to stop my wedding. Yeah. Our parents heard us out. They felt that I was out of line for telling her husband, however, it was better now that the truth was out. They even went and asked Tanya if she would consider taking care of the child now that the truth is out. She told them not to dare help that child or convince her to. She said that the child ruined her life, and Mom reminded her that she had a good job and a wonderful husband. She actually cried tears of anger as she said that she hated the memory of that child and was scared to get pregnant in case she gave birth to yet another, and I quote, monster. We all gasped at the language she used to describe her own son. Her dad told her not to speak like that, like things happen. So she pointed out at him and asked him if he was ready to tell her the truth about her mom. At least if she knew, then she could track her genetics. I was flabbergasted hearing this new piece of information. All I knew about her mom was that she had been a druggie who had given her to her dad and then passed shortly after. However, it appeared that there's so much more to this story. Oh yeah. See, I need popcorn because this is starting to get good. Who knew that there were hidden sagas and family drama? This seemed to turn a switch with her dad, and he said that, well, the matter would not be discussed any further. He told me to apologize for betraying her trust so the two of us could simply move on. I looked at Tanya and sincerely said that I was sorry that she had, such a sad excuse for a mother and a wife. Just because her past was messed up did not mean that she had to punish her son. She had not even seen the boy since he was a baby, yet she hated him with some burning passion.
She knew what it was like to be abandoned by her mother, but she was doing the same. Next thing I knew, a shoe was flying at my head, and then she stormed out of the house, leaving us just staring at each other. Update number 3. It's been 2 long months. Hey guys, yeah, I'm here, so get this. A lot's been going on, and I barely have been able to keep up with hardly any of it. But things are starting to finally come together. It's been 2 months since that dramatic family meeting, and when I say the things have not slowed down, it appears that I opened a big can of worms when I revealed my sister's secret. In addition, we now know how she even knew that Steven was at the casino. Not only that, but I also met my nephew for the first time ever. I know there's so many events, so let me tell them in order of what happened first. Right. After the family meeting, my stepsister blasted me over text cursing me and my marriage. She told me that I had no idea what it was like to be her and I had ruined everything. She tried to manipulate her husband into taking her back, but he wanted none of it. He served her with divorce papers, which was when the drama started. Can you believe that she tried to snatch half of his property that she did not even work for? That is my sister for you, only able to think for herself. My husband and I supported him during the case, and we even decided to look more into my stepsister. Something was not sitting right with me. How was it that she knew that my husband was going to the casino? Was she spying on him? I also spent a very long time analyzing her behavior over the past couple of days, but I could not figure out something until one day when I ran into one of her posts. I remember the restaurant that my husband said he met his client at after they stopped going to the casino. She had posted a picture of the food there, and I recognized the name on a napkin. I also checked out the surrounding areas and checked on maps if that was the place. Lastly, I asked my brother-in-law if she had ever gone there a lot. He said that she had gone outside of town, and he thinks that she might have gone there. I told him to have them look at her financial records, and if she was as dumb as I thought she would have left a paper trail. He was able to have her finances audited, and his as well. He had never paid any attention before, but she had actually been at the casino a lot of times, and had been gambling even. Sometimes she gambled small amounts, and other times it was large. My husband then spoke to some of his friends. Turns out that he had somehow missed her when she had been there, but she was a regular. She had been going there for 5 whole years. Not only did she gamble, but she also lost a lot. She lost a lot for one to assume that she was actually an addict. We gave this evidence to my brother-in-law so that he could use it as evidence. However, when he figured out how much of his money she lost, he got angry and confronted her. He said that her motel was fuller than a brewery and she was a slurring mess. She got very angry and chased him out, but not before he took pictures of the scene. So now she was not only a gambler, but also an alcoholic. That was enough for the judge to grant a divorce without the splitting of assets. Once that was done, we told my parents that we would focus on my nephew. In the meantime, they needed to do something about my stepsister because she was spiraling. I had no idea that things were this bad. She had been so good at hiding what was truly going on that she had us all fooled. My parents are going to do this for a while, and we focus on the upcoming trip to see my nephew. I feel a weird obligation to him, even though I've not met him. I guess I feel guilty because I allowed his existence to be ignored for years. But now that's over, and we will make things right. This is the final update, and it came out exactly 1 month later. Hey, everybody. So, there's nothing I love more than a happy ending, and that's what we've all gotten here. Well, some of us. I can't believe that this is how things turned out, but it could have been way worse. My stepsister could have taken revenge on me and gone even further in trying to ruin my marriage since I exposed her. But I guess that she could not do that when she was preoccupied with losing everything. After the divorce, my parents had her move back in with them. She was barely functioning, so they had her take a break from work before she got fired. Well, a few weeks in, my mom told me that she had stolen her dad's money and gambled it away. They could no longer stay with her because of the way that she was acting. So they decided to send her to rehab, and that's where she's been all this time. She's also going to be getting counseling for her gambling, and I think that's her karma for abandoning Jonathan. Speaking of the light of my life, I met him. I've only known Jonathan for about a month, but I love that young man to pieces. When Stephen, and Luca showed up, his grandparents were relieved. Both of them are now very old and their son has been ghosting them. Stephen and Luca made quick work of setting up a foundation to help Jonathan and his grandparents as well. The event ended up raising so much money that they were also able to donate to other special needs causes. And this time, I was able to spend more time with Jonathan. He's truly a sweetheart. He's smart, kind, and polite. He does not let his condition stop him from living life. I know that he'll have a bright future, and I was able to speak to my parents. And they're currently setting up custody arrangements, and the truth of the matter is that his other grandparents are very old now and need care as well. Because of that, it's likely that he'll be moving in with my parents next year. Me, Luca, and Stephen are also going to try to help out in the hardest way we can. Jonathan asked about his mom, and we had to tell him the truth. He kept on insisting that he wants to see his mother even though we advised against it, at least till she got better. But we did not want to deny him that right, even knowing what it was going to do to break him. So, I went with him to see her one day, and she knew that I was coming, but not about him. I feared that she would refuse the visit if she knew that he was coming. In addition, I was shocked that she was also okay with seeing me. I was right to be nervous because the visit was very, very unpleasant. She shouts at me half the time and did not even pay attention to Jonathan. When Jonathan tried to speak to her, she snapped and told him that he was not her son. His existence had led her to this place, and I think she's going to be there for a very long time because she's not accepted the fact that her own actions led her here. She chose to abandon him, she chose to lie to her hubby, and she chose to gamble. She also chose to turn to alcohol when things started to crumble. She's used to blaming everyone else for her mistakes, and she needs to stop. Is it safe to say that Jonathan will not want to see her again? Well, he's better off without her. He has us. Sure, it took a long time for us to come back for him, but at least we're here now. We're going to make up for all the years that he was not here. That is the least one good thing that came out of the spilling the beans on my wedding day. So I guess I would not change anything. You know, this was meant to be.